I never imagined that a simple decision to sign up for swimming lessons would completely change the course of my life. At 27, deciding to learn proper swimming techniques seemed like a harmless choice, just something to stay active and keep myself busy. But nothing could have prepared me for the moment I stepped into the pool area that evening and laid eyes on my swim coach for the first time. The indoor pool was quiet, the air filled with a calming scent of chlorine as I nervously made my way across the tiled floor. That's when I saw him, standing confidently near the water's edge, his lean, muscular frame glistening slightly under the warm lights, and his dark hair damp, clinging gently to his forehead. His name was Reg, 32 years old, and from the moment our eyes met, I felt a strange, undeniable pull toward him. Reg approached me immediately, a warm smile spreading across his handsome face as he extended a welcoming hand. "You must be Steve," he greeted smoothly, his voice rich and soothing, making my pulse quicken slightly. "I'm Reg, your swim coach. Glad you decided to join." As I shook his hand, my heart fluttered, aware of how firm yet gentle his grip was. I tried to ignore the feeling, chalking it up to nerves or perhaps the excitement of doing something new. Still, I couldn't deny the way my eyes lingered briefly on the contours of his body, perfectly sculpted by years of swimming. Embarrassed, I quickly looked away, hoping he hadn't noticed my lingering gaze. Reg began explaining the basics, his voice calm yet filled with enthusiasm, instantly putting me at ease. As he demonstrated techniques, moving effortlessly through the water, I couldn't help but admire him. Not just his undeniable physical appeal, but also his patient manner and the graceful confidence that defined every movement he made. "All right, Steve," he finally said, standing close beside me at the shallow end of the pool, his eyes warm and encouraging. "Your turn. I'll guide you through it step by step, so don't worry." I nodded, heart beating faster again as he moved closer, standing just inches away. I felt incredibly aware of our proximity, conscious of the warmth radiating from his skin, the subtle scent of him, fresh, clean, and slightly intoxicating. As he gently placed a reassuring hand on my shoulder, guiding me into the correct position, my breath hitched softly. The lesson continued smoothly, though I found myself struggling more and more to focus entirely on swimming. Every time Reg touched me, adjusting my stance or correcting my stroke, I felt a spark ignite inside me, one I couldn't explain and certainly hadn't expected. I found myself hoping he'd touch me again, craving his closeness, the gentle reassurance in his voice, the tenderness in his careful corrections. By the time our session ended, the pool area was nearly empty, quiet except for the gentle hum of distant filtration systems. Reg stepped out of the pool first, offering his hand to help me out. Our fingers brushed briefly, sending a shiver down my spine. "You did great today," he said softly, his voice slightly lower, filled with warmth as our eyes locked again, holding just a second longer than necessary. As I stood beside him, water dripping down our bodies, my heart raced, suddenly aware that this wasn't just a regular swimming lesson. Something deeper, something thrillingly unexpected was beginning to unfold between us. Standing by the edge of the pool, I felt a mix of excitement and uncertainty swirling in my chest as Reg handed me a fresh towel. Our fingers brushed again, lingering just a heartbeat too long, making my skin tingle pleasantly from the simple yet electrifying contact. His dark eyes met mine, briefly reflecting an intensity that sent heat creeping gently into my cheeks, prompting me to quickly turn my attention toward drying myself. "You catch on quickly," Reg complimented softly, his voice low, almost intimate, resonating deeply within me. "Most beginners take weeks to feel comfortable in the water, but you did great today." I smiled shyly, warmth blooming in my chest at his praise. "Thanks," I responded quietly, glancing back at him with genuine gratitude. "I think it's because you're a really good coach." His lips curled upward gently in a small, appreciative smile, eyes brightening with pleasure at the sincerity of my words. We stood silently for a moment, wrapped comfortably in towels, the stillness of the empty pool amplifying the quiet tension building subtly between us. Reg shifted slightly closer, and my pulse quickened again, responding instinctively to his proximity. "Steve," Reg began softly, hesitation coloring his voice for the first time, making him suddenly more vulnerable and deeply appealing. "I know this might sound strange since we just met, but there's something about you that's making it hard for me to think clearly." My heart leapt at his words, stunned yet excited by his unexpected honesty. My breathing quickened as I searched his eyes carefully, sensing sincerity and nervousness beneath the surface confidence he usually portrayed. "I feel the same," I admitted quietly, my voice trembling slightly as the words escaped. "Honestly, I wasn't expecting this at all when I came here." Reg nodded slowly, visibly relieved, and took a small step forward, closing the distance between us even further. The air around us suddenly felt heavier, charged with anticipation and a deep, mutual attraction that neither of us could ignore or resist. He reached out cautiously, gently placing one hand on my waist, fingers brushing lightly against my bare skin, sending delightful shivers cascading down my spine. "Is this okay?" he asked softly, his voice barely audible, filled with tender concern. I nodded, breathless, my chest rising and falling noticeably faster. "Yes?" I whispered, my voice thick with desire, feeling a rush of vulnerability yet completely safe with him. Reg leaned closer slowly, carefully, our lips barely an inch apart, his warm breath gently mingling with mine. I felt my heart racing, anticipation building almost unbearably, until finally, our lips met softly in a tender, tentative kiss. It was gentle at first, cautious yet deeply meaningful, his mouth warm and inviting against mine. Our kiss gradually deepened, becoming more confident, more passionate as our initial hesitation melted away. His hand tightened gently at my waist, pulling me closer as my arms instinctively wrapped around his neck, fingers sliding into his damp hair, holding him closer. Each touch, each subtle caress intensified the electric connection growing between us, fueling the quiet passion that quickly became impossible to resist. When we finally parted slightly, both of us breathless, our eyes met again, reflecting newfound intimacy and longing. Reg gently brushed his fingertips across my cheek, his touch tender and affectionate, eyes searching mine deeply, confirming silently that we both wanted more. "Come with me," Reg whispered softly, voice rich with promise and warmth, gently taking my hand in his. I followed willingly, excitement and anticipation coursing powerfully through me, knowing deep within my heart that this was only the beginning of something incredibly special. Reg led me quietly through the empty locker room toward a secluded, dimly lit area where the staff occasionally rested between training sessions. My heart was pounding loudly in my chest, echoing my uncertainty, yet also my undeniable excitement, as we moved through the silence. Every step forward felt like stepping deeper into uncharted territory, but his reassuring hand holding mine gave me confidence that this was exactly where I was meant to be. Stopping near the entrance of a small, private lounge area reserved for trainers, Reg turned toward me slowly, eyes searching mine carefully for any hesitation. His expression was serious yet warm, filled with genuine care as he brushed his fingers softly across my cheek, sending another gentle shiver down my spine. "Are you sure about this?" he asked softly, voice quiet and cautious, the sincerity evident in his eyes. "We can stop right here if you're not comfortable." My heart fluttered at his consideration, touched deeply by his thoughtfulness. I stepped closer, placing my hand gently against his chest, feeling his steady heartbeat beneath my palm, reassuringly strong. "I trust you, Reg," I whispered sincerely, holding his gaze steadily. "I want this too." His eyes softened noticeably, relief washing over him as a gentle smile curved his lips. Without another word, Reg leaned in, capturing my lips in a soft, deep kiss that was instantly passionate, filled with tenderness and genuine longing. His arms encircled me protectively, pulling me securely against his body as I melted into him, surrendering completely to the intimacy of the moment. The kiss quickly grew more intense, deeper and more exploratory, our lips moving naturally together, tongues gently exploring, deepening our mutual desire. Reg's hands moved slowly down my back, caressing gently, tracing paths that felt both thrillingly new yet wonderfully familiar, leaving warmth and tingling sensations wherever his fingertips brushed against my skin. My hands began exploring too, gently tracing along his muscular shoulders, feeling his strong back beneath my touch, every muscle firm and defined from years spent in the water. Our breathing grew heavier, each gentle kiss and careful caress heightening the attraction between us, making the room feel smaller, more intimate, more charged with emotion. Breaking the kiss briefly, Reg gently took my hand, guiding me slowly toward a comfortable couch positioned discreetly in the corner. We sank down together, bodies naturally entwining, our intimacy continuing to deepen with every shared breath, every lingering touch. The softness of his lips as they traced along my neck, gently pressing tender kisses to sensitive spots, made my heart race even faster, fueling desire and closeness between us. The room seemed smaller, the air heavier, as our touches became more deliberate, more intimate. Fingers brushed against skin, slipping carefully beneath shirts, exploring cautiously yet confidently, eliciting soft sighs and quiet gasps of pleasure from both of us. Reg's lips continued exploring, gently and slowly, moving from my neck to my collarbone, every kiss deepening the emotional connection we'd so quickly formed. I felt my defenses melting away, replaced by trust and vulnerability as we continued sharing tender caresses and whispered words of affection. This wasn't simply about physical desire. It felt deeper, more meaningful, each gentle touch revealing layers of emotions neither of us had expected. As our kisses and caresses grew more purposeful, our breathing became heavier, tension thickening as the passion between us intensified. Slowly, carefully, our movements turned toward preparation, both of us aware that our growing closeness was leading toward intimacy. Without rushing, we navigated these careful preparations, guided by mutual respect and genuine affection, savoring the sweetness and tenderness that made this experience so beautifully profound. Wrapped securely in Reg's arms, I felt completely safe, cherished, and desired. It was clear that our connection was deepening beyond the physical, creating a bond that was emotionally powerful, meaningful, and impossible to ignore. Our shared intimacy marked a turning point, a moment we would never forget. Afterward, Reg held me securely against his chest, his fingers gently tracing soothing patterns along my shoulder, comforting and reassuring in the quiet aftermath of our intimacy. The soft hum of distant pool filters seemed calming, blending with our synchronized breathing, creating a peaceful atmosphere around us. I felt my heart steadying, contentment spreading warmly throughout my body as I nestled closer, savoring the closeness we now shared. Reg pressed a tender kiss against my forehead, his lips lingering softly, conveying affection without needing words. "You okay, Steve?" he asked gently, his voice a quiet whisper filled with genuine care. I lifted my head, meeting his warm gaze with a soft smile. "More than okay," I replied honestly, feeling my chest tighten slightly with affection. "I didn't expect tonight, but I'm so glad it happened." A gentle smile crossed Reg's lips, relief and happiness visible in his eyes. His hand lightly cupped my cheek, thumb brushing tenderly over my skin, sending another warm rush through me. "Me too," he admitted quietly, sincerity filling his voice. "I never do this with anyone I coach, but there was something special about you from the moment we met." Hearing his words filled me with quiet joy, deepening the emotional intimacy we'd already established. I leaned into his touch, closing my eyes briefly as I savored his warmth, the comfort and safety his presence provided. "What happens next?" I whispered softly, suddenly aware of uncertainty about our future beyond tonight. Reg gently tilted my chin upward, his eyes reassuring as he spoke. "We take it slow and see where it leads us," he promised sincerely, his voice steady and filled with quiet confidence. "If that's what you want too?" I nodded softly, heart swelling with newfound hope and excitement. "That's exactly what I want," I replied warmly, pressing a gentle kiss against his lips, sealing our shared promise. Together we remained wrapped in each other's embrace, quietly enjoying the warmth, intimacy, and connection that had grown between us so unexpectedly, yet felt completely natural. In the weeks that followed, my relationship with Reg blossomed quietly yet beautifully, transforming quickly from coach and student into something deeper, more meaningful, and genuinely fulfilling. Each training session became more than simply learning new swim techniques. It turned into cherished moments spent together, building trust, affection, and intimacy. Our secret smiles, lingering glances, and brief but meaningful touches underwater created a private language shared only by us, understood without needing words. One evening after practice, as we lingered beside the empty pool, Reg took my hand gently, intertwining our fingers. His eyes were thoughtful, a soft seriousness reflected in their depths as he searched my face, clearly weighing his next words carefully. "Steve, I don't want us to hide forever," he finally said, his voice quiet yet determined. "What we have feels real, important. I want people to know about us eventually. I want to share this openly." His words warmed me deeply, touching something vulnerable inside my chest. I squeezed his hand reassuringly, smiling softly at his sincerity. "I want that too, Reg. I've been thinking the same thing," I admitted, my heart racing slightly with nerves yet buoyed by excitement. "Maybe it's time to stop worrying about what anyone else thinks and focus on what makes us happy." Reg smiled warmly, visibly relieved by my response. Leaning forward, he kissed me tenderly, his lips gentle yet firm against mine, sealing our shared promise with sincerity and affection. As we parted, his gaze lingered on my face, filled with quiet certainty. "Then let's do it," he murmured softly, brushing a gentle thumb across my cheek. Together. In that moment, something shifted profoundly between us. Our bond strengthened, our hearts aligning in mutual understanding and commitment. We both knew clearly that sharing our relationship openly might present challenges, but the certainty we felt in each other was powerful enough to overcome any fear. Later that evening, walking hand in hand away from the pool, I felt a deep sense of peace and happiness. What had begun as an innocent swim lesson had become the start of something wonderfully meaningful, bringing me joy I hadn't imagined possible. With Reg by my side, ready to face whatever lay ahead, I knew I'd found something truly special. A few months later, Reg and I stood quietly together at the edge of the same pool where our story had begun. The water shimmered softly beneath the gentle lights, reflecting our peaceful happiness back at us. It was late, the building silent except for the quiet hum of distant machinery, making the moment feel deeply intimate, just for the two of us. Reg reached out, gently slipping his arm around my waist, pulling me close. I leaned naturally into his embrace, enjoying the comfort and familiarity of his presence. We had come so far since that first hesitant encounter, no longer uncertain strangers, but partners openly sharing something truly meaningful. "Do you ever think about that first night?" Reg asked softly, his voice warm and reflective. "How different things could have turned out if you'd never shown up?" I smiled gently, resting my head comfortably against his shoulder. "All the time," I admitted quietly, "but I honestly can't imagine my life now without you in it." Reg pressed a tender kiss to my temple, the warmth of his lips lingering sweetly against my skin. "Me neither, Steve," he whispered sincerely. "Meeting you was the best thing that's ever happened to me." Standing together in peaceful silence, wrapped in each other's arms, we both knew clearly how lucky we were. Despite any initial fears or uncertainties we'd faced along the way, our love had grown stronger, deeper, built upon mutual respect, genuine affection, and quiet trust. As we slowly turned to leave the pool area, I paused briefly, glancing back at the calm water. A smile touched my lips, remembering clearly the unexpected, thrilling beginning we'd shared here, feeling immense gratitude for the journey we'd taken together. "Ready?" Reg asked gently, squeezing my hand reassuringly. I nodded, turning toward him with a soft smile. "Always." Walking away hand in hand, I felt completely at ease, confident that whatever the future might hold, we would face it together. The pool would always remind us of how unexpectedly love could enter our lives, and how beautifully it could transform them.